Yo, happy Monday, people. I've decided to start a new series to try and help build better investors, to help them make better choices, more informed choices when buying a property or getting into development projects, and from a construction perspective, So I'm going to start a series with CDM Mondays. They're going to be short little videos. But the reason I'm going to start with CDM is because I've spent 17 years in construction, and over the last 10 years I've run CDM compliant sites, delivering well over £20 million worth of projects, probably more towards 25 million now. And I've been in property for just over a year, and in that time there's one thing that's just genuinely, truly, it terrifies me, and that's from what I've personally seen, the vast majority of investment projects aren't fully complying with the legislation that governs construction. So for any construction project, you should be considering the CDM regulations. Now, the CDM regulations are the Construction Design and Management regulations, and they were first brought into effect in 1994, I believe, and then they were substantially revised in 2007, before the current regulations, which come into force in 2015. So they're not something that you should be thinking about once work starts. And as much as sources, investors may think it's a builder's problem, it's not. They should be considered right from the initial concept of the project, continue throughout the entire life cycle of the building, so for maintenance purposes, and then even through to future alterations, and then ultimately demolition at the end of the life cycle of the property or the building. And when I say every project, I do mean every project. So whether you're doing BRRR, whether you're doing a flip, whether you're doing a HMO conversion, a new build, it doesn't really matter whether it's commercial or domestic. So even your extension is included in that. Loft conversion, rear extension, side extension, whatever it is, domestic or commercial, there's no exceptions. So as I said, we think sites as a builder's problem, but it's far more complicated than that. Failure to comply can lead to sites being stopped, enforcement action, fines, injuries, delayed programs, blown budgets, and in some cases, even, which is the scary part, is personal liability. So that's not the builder's problem. It's your project, your investment. Ultimately, it's your capital at risk. And so what I want to do is, because obviously most people in property just teach you about how to buy a building, they teach you all the numbers, and all the fancy stuff. But what I want to do is I want to teach how to build one safely, because health and safety is everyone's responsibility, and unfortunately it's your responsibility to know your responsibilities. So CDM isn't everyone's cup of tea, or it's not everyone's bag. So every Monday for the next month, I'll be breaking CDM down into plain English. There'll be no legal jargon, no textbook definitions. It'll just be practical knowledge that every investor, developer, property sourcer should know and really understand. Make sure you follow along. Plan better, build smarter, invest safer. I'm Will Burns, and this has been Building Better Investors.